What has been your biggest F-up leading up to this point in life? Choosing the wrong degree multiple times. A few years ago finally decided on computer science. And I effing hate it. Only have like 8-ish classes left, so I would be stupid not to finish it, but I have no desire to do anything computer science related. Staying with someone for way too long because I thought I could help them. I was 25 when I met her. She was broken and very needy. She had a lot of issues with herself, mainly she always felt insecure and inadequate. For those times when she was okay, everything was amazing and she was the best person to be around with. But those times were rare. She was jealous about anyone and everyone. I didn't even hang around my friends anymore because she would make me feel guilty later on and she could never get along with them. I always thought I could help her, but only after everything fell apart did I realize that in my effort to always be there for her I broke myself. We broke up 2 years ago. I'm now 33 and just starting to fix relationships that I've abandoned because I was too focused on her. I don't blame her at all because that was my choice, but it's been hard. Starting to smoke. I was a super heavy smoker. I was driving home from a charity event for American Cancer Society. I recognized the irony, and I stopped at a rest stop to grab coffee. I was having a cigarette and a lady who had, barely, survived lung cancer came up to me in the parking lot and asked me to quit. She said, "I wish someone just came up to me and asked me to quit, so that is what I am doing for you. Please quit before it's too late." And so I stopped at the drugstore and got the patch. The process is uncomfortable and it took me a year of using it to finally come off of it, but it's been 6 years since I have had a cigarette. Please quit before it's too late. Being a floater. Meaning being friends with multiple friend groups in life without really being a solid part in any one. Left with none eventually. Getting married to the wrong person. It led to a lengthy divorce in which time my ex yanked me physically. It took me years to recover. Right there with you on that one. It's been 8 years and I'm just now seeing the light again. So you're saying there's hope? Almost 3 years out and it's starting to get pretty lonely. But I have a better job, money and savings for the first time in my life. Losing friends because I didn't put effort into maintaining the relationship. Nobody tells you when you're a kid just how hard it is to make new friends once you're past your college years. Sober. Me too. And I was very self-conscious of how clingy, needy I could be, and I overcompensated by being distant and cool and unbothered. I hope 2020 will be a year of new friendships for you. My mother worked at the elderly care facility as a hairdresser. She was friends with a lady in her 80s who was wheelchair-bound. This lady's son came to visit her one day and took her outside for some fresh air. He either didn't set the brake on the wheelchair on the hill they were on or didn't do it correctly. He turns away for a moment and when he looks back his poor mother is flying down the hill and ends up in one of their small ponds. She passed within a day of the incident. It's crazy how everything changes in one moment and ups happen no matter how attentive you try to be. Sorry that happened to you. 2.5 years ago, in my last semester at college to become a props and paint person for TV and film. I went to college at 30 when I finally figured out what I wanted to do with my life. I helped the team lift a very heavy set piece. It was too heavy, we didn't have enough people, but we got it to where it needed to be. Turns out that lifted up both of my wrists. For life. Spent the next 2 years after graduating trying to fix them, figure out what was even wrong. End result. We don't know what's wrong, we can't fix it. Look into long-term pain management. So now I can't work the industry I wanted to be in, and I also can't even do a lot of the stuff I used to do. Can't lift anything more than 15 pounds without it hurting. I finally got a part-time job at an escape room. I could have been working in TV, or at the very least, theater. But I can't bend my left wrist, and any sort of repetitive actions hurts like a mother effer. Guess what needs full mobility and functionality of my hands? Making props and painting sets. Alcoholism. I've battled with it for about 10 years now, but really started affecting my life about 3 or 4 years ago. Before that I was a highly functioning alcoholic. I didn't realize this was actually a step into dysfunctional alcoholism and thought it was as bad as it would get. I was wrong. While I was still getting blackout drunk every other night, I managed to keep my job. But then my job got tired of me showing up to work drunk, still smelling like a brewery, that they let me go. That was 3 years ago. I then jumped from job to job with brief dry moments, until 2 years ago I finally went to AA. I cried that night. Like ugly cried. Because I saw a story that was identical to mine. After that night I went sober for about 350-something days. Then I relapsed. Pretty hard. I'm taking about 4-5 bottles of liquor and 4-5 days blackout benders. Got fired from my past 4 jobs for drinking on the job, and I have less than $200 to my name and currently unemployed. Rent is coming up and I don't have that. Oh, and my 30th birthday is next week. I'm terrified of my immediate future, but I'm 4 days sober and never touching alcohol again. Please. Please. Don't pick up the drink. She's a ruthless succubus who will suck you dry till you're an empty shell of your former self. Holding on to hate and resentment about my dad has effed me up mentally. Instead of dealing with it in a healthy way, I've held on to the hate and resentment and have blamed him for everything wrong in my life. I'm in therapy now and trying to unlearn toxic behaviors. Getting married at a young age led to years of feeling like I was constantly failing, splitting up eventually, meeting new people that I never would have met otherwise. Now I have a life partner who spends every day finding ways to build me up, and we live blissfully with our 2 dogs. Took a very large dose of a research chemical thinking it'd be like acid, went clinically insane for like a year and require inpatient hospitalization. Took me 2 years after that to build my life up and have a career, but I was never totally the same. Such is life. I didn't take high school seriously and dropped out of community college most of the way to my degree when I ran out of money. Now I'm 31, halfway through an associate's that will help pay for the bachelor's. I spent 6 years in retail during the housing crisis and 4 in woodworking and blue-collar jobs. Seriously, if I could take back those 6 years and put them towards something that would help the world, I would now. You have a chance to turn it around. Check out the tutoring and study subreddits and your school's resources. You don't want to spend your 20s poor like I did. Not leaving toxic people sooner. I'm extremely patient and actively try to be kind to everybody. It takes me too long to realize that some people most certainly don't deserve it. I am just like you. The only reason I don't hang around toxic people anymore is because they left me behind, even when I didn't leave them. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Glad you're not around the shite people anymore. Exactly. My problem for most of my life. I cut everyone out of my life, and 8 years later my life has improved to be literally the opposite of what it was. The wrong people really can keep you from your dreams. I wanted to take 6 months off to volunteer before going to college. I was dating a girl I love who was now a senior in high school. When she graduated she was going to join the army. So I decided I'd take 18 months off for volunteering, hanging out with her, and working odd jobs. The semester I was going to go, my school messed up my grant paperwork and paperwork for a $750 book scholarship. Said they would not be able to fix it before the enrollment deadline, so I had to put it off another 6 months. Since I wasn't working saving up money, I started school 2 years behind my friends and peers without a cent gained. The volunteering hasn't been much of a resume booster. On top of all this, 4 months after I started school, my girlfriend I was putting it all off for dumped me. Later found out she was cheating for the last 6 months of the relationship too. Was going to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin in 2010, which at the time would have been somewhere around 1,200 Bitcoin. I was fairly poor at the time, so I decided I should spend the money on bills and food instead. Looking back on it, I should have starved for a week and let some bills go to collections. Not taking college seriously and going to professional grad school afterwards. I was smart, capable, and had financial support. Even had a full ride to a prestigious private school for undergrad. But I was super immature and had no effing idea what I wanted to do. Played pool all day and concentrated on dating as many girls as I could. Now, 20 years later, all my college friends are medical doctors, pharmacists, and lawyers. I mean really, like 15 or 20 of them, and I'm not. By far my biggest regret in life. And to be clear, I'm doing just fine with a great life, and my wife is a pharmacist. But I often think about what I could have done, career-wise. Trying to pursue a career in professional gaming led to 3 years of homelessness, struggles finding work, and I lost my relationships with my friends and family. I'm now sleeping on a couch, doing temp work and rekindling things with my family. I've also somehow got a girlfriend. I guess things will be fine soon enough. Not having self-confidence from middle school all the way until I was 27. Doing a lot better now that I have the self-confidence, but I really set myself back in terms of personal life, missed out on a bunch of stuff that is long gone. F it though, only way to move is forward, looking forward to where my life goes from here on out. Please share some of your life regrets in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from askreddit.